Alright, so we're checking out some new magnetic helping hands. If you're in the RC hobby doing any kind of soldering or hot air gun work, this is going to be pretty useful. This is a pretty luxurious set, actually, kind of like the Mercedes-Benz of helping hands. I've actually, on my last leg here of the one I've been using, this is a pretty old one, and it's got a lot of limitations. I have one arm left here of the, I think it was 4 or 6 that were on here originally, and that's about to go, so it's good this came in. Let's see what we got in the box. This has got a ton of stuff in it, and it comes with a little manual. I'll show you a picture of all the parts. We'll show you all those here shortly, and there's a little LED light in here with a switch and some tech specs, and again some pictures of what's in the box. Okay, so you get 4 of these magnetic arms, and you get a bunch of these alligator clips that goes on the ends of the magnetic arms. There's actually 2 sets of 5 and 2 bags, so 10 total. Kind of nice. These are already come with the heat, I guess the insulating heat shrink here on the ends. Of course, that'll probably need replacing at some point, but it's nice that's already pre-installed. A plastic piece here for the end of the alligator clip. And then the arm here, very nice. It's feels like it's metal, but it's flexible, so you can configure it in a variety of different shapes. This is the magnetic base that's going to attach to the metal base. I'll show you that all the little parts will do that. This is kind of what makes this setup kind of unique. So the little clips just go into here, and then you get a thumb screw here that goes into here and that locks into place. And it just looks like that, and that locks into place. Okay, this is the magic arm. Again, a very large magnetic base here on the bottom. It's going to hold into place pretty nicely, and looks like you have a 1/4 inch threaded screw bolt here. So this could be, I think this is going to attach to a clamp. That's also included. And then you have a, you can adjust the arm here, different angles. And also it's on a little ball mount here on the bottom, so you can adjust a variety of different angles here. There's a picture I'll put up here on the screen of the arm or the clamp holding a hot air gun, and this is what you could use this for. And this is the clamp, so you can attach this to the hot air gun or something that's kind of round, clamp on, and then it comes with a 3/8 inch and a 1/4 inch thread there, and this is going to attach to the end of the magic arm right over here. So it looks something like that, and we'll attach that to the base here shortly. And this is the table vise. Yeah, again, very heavy and solid. Huge magnet here on the bottom, and looks like you can adjust the tension here. And this is just a standard vise. So you can open it up like so, and they show that you can, put your PCB boards in here, clamp it into place, and then work on, whatever you're doing, soldering or hot air gun work. Okay, so this is kind of interesting. These, I think they're called these PCB holders. So they obviously have magnetic base. They're going to go on the board. I'll show you that here in a second. I guess you could use this, to hold a board that has like 4 holes. You can stick the board on top here, or you can hold it in other ways basically through tension on the side. And that's why you get 4 of these. And so we'll show you that here shortly. Okay, we got a LED light here with a magnifying lens. It's going to be good for your soldering work on tiny parts. Another flexible arm and a very large magnetic base. This is powered by USB, so there's your USB connector there. There is a power adapter here included for 5 volts, and here's what looks like 5 volts, 2 amps. Pretty standard USB-A there. And then you have a controller here, so you can turn on and off and adjust your settings, plus and minus, etc. I think it can adjust the brightness and also the color temperature. Alright, so here's the metal base, powder coated finish here on the paint. This is the brand name here, Novisbig. So there's branding on this side here. The other side doesn't have any branding. And then you have a small hole here. I guess you could hang it up on a wall or something if you want to attach all your stuff there magnetically. So They do include some rubber feet for the magnetic base, and then additional rubber grips here for the vise. So those are included as spares. Okay, try out the light first here. Very strong magnet. You can see I can pick up the whole base here. It weighs over 3 pounds with just a magnet here. So we're, I guess, releasing this. You're going to have to well, it's kind of tough actually. Got to push it off at an angle. There it goes. So yeah, very, very strong magnet. So you put it down there, and then going anywhere. You can easily adjust the angle of the light on whatever you're working on. All right, so quick test of the light here. Turn on and off. Different levels here. It's pretty bright actually. So that's the brightest setting. And decreasing it, so it's like about 6-7 levels of brightness there. It's off. Yeah, actually more like 8 levels of brightness there. Then you can change your color temperature here with this middle switch. So it's basically you have a cool light and a warm light. So you basically, yeah, so it goes from cool to warm to medium, like kind of a combination of cool and warm and cool. Yeah, basically it. So I think that'll be pretty useful. So here's a quick demo of what the magnifying lens kind of looks like through the camera. It's kind of hard to see. When you're looking at it in person, it actually looks bigger than it does on camera. But yeah, it gives you an idea of what the magnifying lens will do for you. It'll definitely help in terms of looking at stuff that's small and soldering small stuff. So the base itself isn't that large. Here you can see my hands. It's about 11 inches by about 7 inches. So obviously you probably can't, or you want to use all of the parts I just showed you on this one plate. You, obviously, they being magnetic, you can take it on and off as needed. However, if you're looking for a smaller set, for example, if you don't need the magic arm, or if you don't want these little PCB holders, they have different sets available. I'll link those down in the video description. I'll put the obviously the link to the main. This is like the full set down in the video description. But if you're looking for alternative sets that they all have the same base here, I believe, but you can come with different parts here in the different sets. So click those links down below if you're looking for something a little bit smaller in terms of maybe you only want the magic arms and maybe the PCB holders. You can do that, and then obviously you're not going to get the vise or the magic arm, but those are going to be linked down in the video description. And here's an example of what these little PCB holders do. You can kind of place them magnetically on the board and then slide the board that you want to work on in place like this. And here's the magic arm attached to the base again, a very strong magnet. It ain't going anywhere. And obviously you want to tighten on all your little attachment points here. And you can imagine having like a hider gun locked into place here. Here's the vise, and again another giant magnet. Again, it ain't going anywhere, but you can imagine putting your board in here using the vise and then working on it with this. This is going to be really, I think, a pretty useful setup here. All right, so finally got a couple of these magnetic arms attached here with the little alligator clips. And this is probably what I'm going to be mainly using it for. Like kind of like this is how I typically solder stuff. I will use a couple of these flexible arms and clamp them to the board that I'm going to solder, and then just work on it like that. Although I think that vise actually might be pretty useful for some more intricate work where sometimes these do move around a little bit, so that vise is definitely not going to have any kind of movement. For some things, like maybe like certain kinds of like soldering, maybe like something big like an XT60 connector, but for some of these small boards, this will be fine for this kind of tiny wires. These arms are really going to be pretty good in my opinion. So this is definitely a much nicer arm. I think it's not going to wear out. I think like these cheaper ones that I've been using, these plastic ones, you can see where it's cracked here. That's where the rest of these arms, they kind of broke off somewhere because they also they lose a lot of flexibility, and it gets kind of stiff, and then eventually this plastic cracks. So these are, that one's going in the trash, and this is the one I'll be using in the future for sure. This is going to be super nice. But yeah, like if you're looking for maybe just the base with some of the magnetic arms, and nothing else. They do have smaller sets available, so just click those links down in the video description. Definitely worth it, I think. If you're doing a lot of soldering work, this is a much nicer set because you can move these arms around in different places and adjust to whatever work you're doing. Whereas some of the other helping hands out there are kind of limited in what they can do. Of course, they are cheaper, but I think this is definitely well worth the money. Anyway, links again down in the video description if you guys want to check them out. I'll talk to you guys in the next one.